Jerry, your time is almost up, buddy. Your time is almost up. If the Cleveland Browns can pull off one of these moves and they can figure out how to get off Jerry Jeudy, it appears the Cleveland Browns may have identified an couple of elite wide receiver targets in free agency that they would love to replace Jerry Jeudy with. We have to get all the way into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification to hype the video. Let's get right off into things. Now, we obviously know the Cleveland Browns wide receiver room is an absolute joke. They have 24-hour fitness managers playing wide receiver. They have they have Jerry Jeudy out there masquerading as a number one wide receiver when we know he's really a number three and a slot guy. But we have to get to this article here on 24/7 Sports. As the Cleveland Browns look to make moves and bring in a replacement at the wide receiver position, you need to bring in a high-end wide receiver through free agency, and you need to draft one. Whether that's a Jordan Tyson, Cardinal Tate, Mekhi Lemon, I don't give a damn. You got to get somebody, okay? This is here in this article. Here it says, Alec Pierce and Romeo Doubs. Now, I don't know if you know, Alec Pierce set it off in Indiana this year with the Colts. He set it off. I think he only had 50 catches, but had over 1,000 yards, averaging 20-some yards per catch, was the biggest big play threat in the entire NFL. All big plays. The most yards on the least amount of catches since, I want to say, Deshaun Jackson back in Philadelphia. Alec Pierce is a big play waiting to happen, and we know Shedeur Sanders loves to throw the ball down the field. I think if you get Alec Pierce on this team, he can absolutely take the top off of the defense. He would be an absolute get for the Cleveland Browns. I would love for them to go get Alec Pierce of the Indianapolis Colts. Romeo Doubs, silky smooth route runner for the Green Bay Packers. He can get it done. He can absolutely get it done. Here it says, I can see these both as players that the Cleveland Browns would be interested in. The issue could be them not wanting to go to a team with uncertainty at quarterback and on the offensive line. It will be interesting to see if Shedeur Sanders' celebrity status can be used to attract talent to the team. I can see them looking hard at the trade market for this position as they have done in previous years, as you know what you have heading into free agency, rather than the risk of ending up without a player you want. I don't tend to write on potential trade targets, but I might do this at quarterback and wide receiver. So Alec Pierce and Romeo Doubs could be some legitimate free agency targets at the wide receiver spot for the Cleveland Browns. And I think they both will be fantastic replacements for Jerry Jeudy. And even at the least bit, if you can't get rid of him, at least you knock him down the pecking order. You get one of these guys, you draft another guy, and then Jerry Jeudy becomes your number three if you can't just get rid of him all around the board. So I think those two guys will be absolute steals for the Cleveland Browns. Now, we had some conversation going on the Ken Carman show. Anthony Lima's a hater. And they're talking about Shedeur Sanders' chance of being the starting quarterback. It was a very, very interesting conversation. Ken Carman don't mind cooking his ass whenever he get too far out of line. Let's give it a listen.
Speaking of the position of quarterback, Mary Kay penned an article. This is last night. Is this last night?
Yeah, came out last night.
All right. So tell me about what she wrote last night.
And I think this is going to be something to kind of pay attention to and something to monitor as we're wondering what Todd Monken truly thinks of our quarterback room. It's one thing to say things. It's another thing to see how he actually operates the quarterback room. And so Mary Kay is going over, the strengths and weaknesses of all these. She talked about Deshaun Watson heading into the final year of his 5-year contract with an $80 million cap charge before it's restructured again. Goes in to say that the 3-week practice window last year, and we didn't really know what that meant, whether or not he was going to be activated, whether we would see Deshaun Watson in the final week of the season or anything like that. Said in December, under terms of the physically unable to perform list, some of the organization felt he was the best quarterback on the field during that stretch. With Sanders closing out the season, the Browns did not activate Watson. So that to me, That to me stands out because people in the organization currently, when we're wondering how much are they truly all in on Shedeur Sanders, I keep seeing media members and then fans alike saying, oh, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that they love, like, this is not going to be a fair competition. Like, they are in to Sanders for all the reasons, his poise, even though he was getting hit hard, some of the big throws he made.
They're saying this about
two
the Browns
wins at the end of the year.
They're saying this about the Browns. See, I thought this was more personal opinion by people. Like me going into it, it's like, well, Shedeur's, as long as we have all these guys, I know we have a Ben Solak article about Malik Willis out there that we're going to get to here. But if it were just these three guys, it's like, well, Shedeur goes in as the number one QB, and if he's bad, Deshaun Watson can certainly replace him as QB1 going into week one.
There truly are people in the organization that last year during that window, forget about more time off, more time to heal. Now we're even further away from the surgeries and everything as he's rehabbing and getting his act together with Quincy Avery. His name pops up in this story, his personal quarterback coach. I mean, if it was clear then that he was better than Shedeur Sanders, how would you expect Shedeur to beat him out in a competition? It's kind of sounding like with some of the stuff coming out of there that, Watson might be back. Watson might be Watson, and Todd Monken was hired to access the elite skills.
I told you when they hired him. What did I say? What did the text say? He really likes Watson. That cannot be discounted. It can't be discounted. And I remember that. I haven't forgotten it already. And that's something that we need to keep in the back of our minds, and it might need to go further and further closer to the front of our minds as time goes on. So if you were making a choice right now, which one would be your QB1 going into the season?
I assumed that he was going to be a shell of himself athletically.
Well, let's hold
following
on
the surgeries.
And
if that's not the case.
I think you just gave away your answer. 216-474-0092. I think we know where you stand. All right, you got to pick one. You can't tell me anybody else. You got to pick one. Mary Kay just wrote this article about there are people in the building. Well, guys, there's hundreds of people in that building. I could have been in that building and went, oh my God, I saw him working out. The ground shook underneath my feet when he turned and burned in one of his videos. I'm a person in the building. Mary Kay's I feel like the Seinfeld episode. I'm a man. Lima, he's a man. There's plenty of people in that building. The Browns quarterback situation is not solved. So, yeah, there'd definitely be some people in that building. I mean, look how split we are on Shedeur. Look how split we are on Deshaun Watson. Let's be honest. There's definitely people in the building who feel the same way we do. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, there's definitely people on both sides. So, you got to pick one. You can't – I know we got